This is a HeadGum podcast.
Hello and welcome to The Complete Guide to Everything, a podcast about everything. I am one of your hosts, Tom.
And I'm Tim.
Tim, how are you doing this week? I'm trying to close the door.
I know. I got a little bit of a tickle in my throat.
Yeah?
But don't let me interrupt you closing the door. Yeah. Good job closing the door, too.
Yeah, well, thanks. I've done
Multitasker.
it a few times. I bet if I hadn't called attention to it, the listener would have been none the wiser.
I know. It seemed like you weren't. And then, I don't know, a decade and a half of broadcasting experience, and you still don't know when you shouldn't.
That I should close the door before we start recording?
Yeah.
Tim, do you, are you saying you have a tickle in your throat to lay the groundwork for another excuse for missing my birthday next year like you did this year?
Tom, you had a birthday party this past weekend?
Yeah.
I did not attend.
You did not. Your wife and child attended.
I know. I sent them in my place.
Your son apologized profusely.
I know.
He was like, I am so embarrassed that father isn't here.
I know. He does a good job covering for me.
Yeah.
It's going to be the one of many apologies that he'll issue on my behalf.
Very good use to apologizing for your old man, boy. Yeah, you didn't come to my birthday party.
Tom, I had a stomach bug.
Yeah, well,
I had a stomach bug, Tom.
The candles melted into the cake. We were all waiting for you. Said, no, he's on his way, everybody. I'll blow out the candles
Even though
once
my
Tim
wife
comes
was like,
here.
no, he's at home. Tom, I had this. Have you had a stomach bug in this way? Like, I barfed one time.
Okay.
And I won't tell you about the other stuff.
No.
But there wasn't even that much of the other stuff.
Diarrhea stuff?
Yeah, it was mostly...
Yeah, I figured that's what the other stuff
Yeah, I
was.
know, but I didn't want to,
No, there's stuff coming out of my ears.
Well, I just didn't want to...
You can say the diarrhea stuff. Everybody knows the stomach bug comes out both ends.
Tom, I'm trying to have a little class.
Well, maybe you should show up for things you're invited to.
So
then.
I stopped eating anything or drinking anything, even water.
Right.
But then my stomach would just hurt. It was so much pain. It was sharp pains, like being stabbed in the stomach.
Did you dry heave at all? That's the worst.
I did.
Yeah.
That was the one time I threw up. So
I've had, not recently, but I've had stomach bugs where like I dry heave so hard that it's like I'm gonna eat something just so I don't dry heave anymore. I know I'm not gonna be able to keep it down.
Nah, it wasn't even that. It was just that like I did not want for food or water. I was like, you know what? I can take a few days off ingesting anything.
Yeah,
that's what I did. But then I just sat there on the couch going,
my tummy hurts.
Yeah. So
I don't want to go to the party. You two go.
Tom, there were 2 birthday parties I was supposed to go to. I didn't go to either of them.
Yeah. Well, the other one was like for a baby, so that would have been. But I'm not a baby. I have a robust immune system. You could have come.
I know, but you invited so many babies to your birthday party. Babies you didn't even know. I didn't even know you knew that many babies. Yeah,
some didn't even come with their parents, which I was actually honestly a little bit mad about. Because then I was tasked to watch your child at one point.
What?
Yeah.
Well, now I didn't know about this. I had to talk to my wife.
Well, I think it was your wife just I think desperately like needed to go to the bathroom or something. Yeah. And me and your boy were reading a book together. Yeah. Penthouse magazine, an old one. Before
you gotta expose him to the classics
before they got woke and.
I don't want to know what your assessment of a woke penthouse means.
He was like pretty engrossed in it. So
of course.
So your wife was like, "Oh, you know what? I'm gonna be right back. You just stay here with Mr. Tom." And immediately he was like, "No."
Oh, really? He wasn't having it.
Yeah, no. And he went with her, and then I just had to read. That old issue of Penthouse all by myself.
That was your plan all along, wasn't it?
It was embarrassing. It was my birthday, and here I am reading alone.
How are you doing this week? Turning the big 50?
I'm not turning 50, not yet.
40. It's not too far off.
I know, but let's relax.
We're just gonna still do this when we're 50? No,
I
right?
I don't think we thought we were going to be doing it when we were in our 40s.
Yeah.
So who knows? Might be doing it from beyond the grave. That'd be spooky, huh?
Yeah.
Um,
Think of the ratings, Tom. You know what? I wouldn't, if they were like, oh, this is a podcast hosted by ghosts, I'd be like, even if I knew it was real, even if it was real, and they proved it, I'd be like, what is a ghost gonna...
Well, how would you know it was real and they proved it?
I don't know. What if it's on the news? They were like, oh,
Oh,
yeah.
if it's on the news, then you know.
Yeah, the news
Oh,
confirmed.
the lighter side, 2 ghosts launched a
That'd be
podcast
on
today.
the spookier side, Tom.
Yeah.
You know when they do the segment of the news where it's the spooky
The
news?
spooky news.
Yeah.
Uh,
Bone-chilling news to chill your spine.
And they bring in a whole bunch of scientists every week to confirm that the stuff they're talking about is true.
Yeah. So they independently verify this, right?
Yeah.
And then you listen. What are they going to go, ooh.
I mean, what if they're talking about like the afterlife?
How good could the afterlife be if
they're doing a podcast?
they're doing a
That's
podcast
true.
and transmitting it
Yeah.
here.
Hopefully, if the afterlife and heaven is real, they've had the ability to podcast this whole time,
Right.
and have chosen not to because they've had better ways to spend their time.
Right.
Jamming
with Jimi Hendrix.
And
Farrah Fawcett.
other famous dead people. I couldn't think of
You couldn't
a
think of
single
one famous dead musician?
No. It's like Eric Clapton. No, he's alive.
Yeah, he's barely hanging on though, right?
Yeah. And his hand's getting slower.
I know.
You didn't think it could get any slower, but
He's got one of the slowest hands now.
yeah. Tim, this week we're not talking about ghosts. We're not talking about birthdays. We're talking about something, I guess, that's like
We're talking
similar
about an
to a
old
birthday.
English guy, just like Eric Clapton.
That's true. An old racist English guy. Tim, this week is going to be the coronation of King Charles III.
Right.
Formerly Prince Charles. The nothing, not no
you
number.
You don't get a number.
I don't think princes get numbers. I think only kings and queens.
All right, Tom. I think you'll forgive me for not.
Oh,
knowing.
you're not going to show up to that either?
I'm not going to go to the coronation. No, I don't know anything about the royal family, and you are so fascinated by the royal family. You talk about them all the time. You act like I know who these people are.
I mean, it's like a morbid curiosity for me because it's such a wacky thing that there's still a royal family. But also, they don't have power, but they do have power.
Yeah, I don't understand the power that they wield.
Yeah.
But like, I don't understand how anything works over there. Like every once in a while, they're like, they've chosen to dissolve the government or something. It's like, oh, they could do that.
Yeah, the prime minister decided they don't want to do it anymore, so everybody's gonna go home, and then there's gonna be another vote next week.
Yeah, and then also like, then something is gonna happen, but first they had to ask the queen if it's okay. And it's like, wait, the queen gets to choose something, but
and
then they're like,
it's a
but
formality,
but yeah.
But yeah, we still do it.
Yeah. Well, now the queen's dead, so I thought maybe they were just going to be like, well, we had a good run with this thing. We don't need the royals anymore. But no, now they got this new guy.
Yeah.
New guy that everybody just heard of for the first time.
You would think that they would say like, all right, none of us knew the queen was going to live that long, but obviously we're well past the point where we need a royal family, right, everybody?
Yeah.
But
and
no.
I'm sure they would have been like, fine. That Prince Harry and Meghan.
Mm-hmm.
I bet they would have been like, yeah, end it.
No.
But still give us the money.
Yeah, I don't think because then they would have nothing to like,
You got really into that Prince Harry stuff, Tom.
I
was coming over here and you would you'd be like, oh, I assume that you watched 5 of the interviews this week.
Did you hear what he said about his Todger this week? That was in the book.
Yeah.
He almost froze
Did
his
you read the
Todger
book?
off. I didn't read the book.
Okay. You don't read books,
I
right?
I prefer not to read books if I can help it.
What are you always saying about people who read books?
Nerds
Nerds
and losers.
Yeah.
No, I just watched the interviews and regretted watching the interviews, like the latest round, because I watched the Oprah one like a couple of years ago.
I started talking about this now.
Well, and then I watched this new thing and it was like, oh, there's nothing new. They just stretched this out even longer, because that's what I was gonna say is they're not like actually railing against the royal family. Like, it would be way cooler and way more interesting if they were just like, yeah, the whole thing is it should bugger off.
Right. You were making a lewd gesture with your
bugger
hand.
off.
Yeah.
Have a wank.
Right.
Give a wank.
It's bollocks.
I
is
could
all
give
this
a
is.
wank.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not.
But I'm just saying they're not really against it. So
what I don't understand, Tom, is that these publishing companies, they get they pay people a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like, they paid him a lot of money to write a book.
Sure did.
But like, they were also doing that with like people in this country.
Yeah.
The good old United
they
States.
also pay people to write books in this country.
But like, where it's like, oh, it's, somebody who worked for this controversial administration and now it's a tell-all.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't understand why they pay so much money for tell-all books. And then like 2 days before the book comes out,
they tell all.
There's all these articles that are like, we read the book and here's all the good stuff from the book in bullet point form. So like, number one, you don't have to read a whole book. You don't have to read a book at all. And also, you don't have to sit through the boring parts. They just bullet point out the interesting parts.
And you don't have to buy a new hardcover book at full price.
Yeah.
Some of these, like the Prince Harry book, I'm not sure how much it was, but it's probably like around $30, I'd imagine.
And these poor saps, they paid Prince Harry a whole bunch of money.
Yeah.
And then everybody just went to, I don't know, like vulture.com or something and saw the bullet points.
Yeah, I guess I don't really read like celebrity biographies, autobiographies, or non-autobiographies, otherwise known as biographies, very often. But I've never, I guess there is something to that where there's enough people that the day before the book comes out.
Who's buying these books?
The day before the book comes out, see all these bullet pointed lists and read these articles and think, I guess they think to themselves, wow, if that's what they print in the paper, imagine what's in the book. And it's like, no, those are the most interesting
of, like,
parts of the book.
filler paragraphs between all that stuff.
Yeah.
Pages and pages of it.
I mean, I get it. If you're like a fan of this person and it's like, oh, I don't care. I already know a lot of this stuff, but I want to read it in that person's own words.
Yeah, but when it's like, oh, yeah, Kellyanne Conway gets $2.1 million. It's just like, oh, are you a fan of hers? No. You want to see, like, is she going to say something horrible happened? Yeah.
And if she does, you'll read about it a week before the book comes out in some exclusive article.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess
I don't understand the business model, Tom.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the economics. Well, I mean, the book publishing world is crazy. Like, they often spend lots of money on stuff that they don't get a return on, but then sometimes it's like they're spreading their bets.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
You know what I'd like to be, Tom?
What's that?
One of the guys that they pay to write one of those books.
Yeah. You should become like a, I don't know what, prince?
Yeah, I'd like to
become a prince. It's probably too late to become a prince.
We'll see. We'll see. I'm very persistent.
Yeah.
They'll be Tim, the persistent prince. Ever hear of a man who became a prince in his 40s?
Just by asking a lot?
Not even asking, just expressing a vague interest.
Yeah. Well, I've always gotten the impression from you've kind of lived your life assuming at some point
a candle in the wind.
A King Ralph situation will happen to you.
I mean, God willing.
But yeah, so what were we talking about? Oh, tell-all books and stuff, and the Prince Harry, Prince Meghan. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about his dad, King Charles.
So he's been king the whole time,
yes,
right?
You become
since the lady passed.
Yes, Her Royal Highness Tim.
Right. Not anymore. She's low in the ground.
I think they
6 feet under.
I think they bury queens deeper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Grave robbers.
So like a dog doesn't come in and
dog's grave
burying
robber.
a bone and
yeah. I mean, imagine how embarrassing that would be for the entire country if Workers today arrived to discover a dog had dug up the queen and was running around with her bones.
I mean, that'd be a fun story. And the lighter side. Or that might make the spooky segment on the news, depending on what happens.
They might have to cover it twice on the news that week. They just put different music behind it, the same footage. But yeah, as soon as she died, he immediately becomes king because God forbid there's not a head of the royal family.
Yeah, well, what if the prime minister needed to go and ceremonially get approval for something?
Well, there was a new prime minister right before she died. That was like one of the last public photos of the queen was her meeting this new prime minister.
I got some private photos of the queen from after that.
Wow. Tim, it's scandalous. But yeah, so Prince Charles became King Charles immediately. He could apparently have picked like a different name. It's like when you become the Pope.
Right.
You can be like, I want to be King Arthur.
Right.
Maybe he can't be King Arthur.
Why not?
I guess he could be.
Is King Arthur real?
I think there was a King Arthur, but not like, Knights of the Round Table and all that. Or maybe there was Knights of the Round Table, but not.
Was Merlin?
There was a Merlin, I'm pretty sure. Merlin? Yeah, but it was just like a guy who had a lighter or something.
Back then,
people couldn't believe it. Yeah, so he became king right away. King Charles. Do you know who the other King Charleses were? King Charles the First and Second.
I don't know.
King Charles the First.
I'd love to go on Jeopardy, and I think my knowledge, I think I need to shore up like my world geography a little bit. And I think I could do that. But then they get into all this shit. The monarchs.
Well, and same thing with the like Roman and Greek gods.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to get any of those.
And it's fine. I can avoid those categories just fine. But then if it's Final Jeopardy it comes up.
Oh, yeah.
I'm toast.
Yeah. What happened to King Charles the First?
Yeah. I mean, that's not how the questions are phrased.
This happened to King Charles the First.
I mean, that's pretty broad. I could just be like, he ate a meal.
He was the king at one point.
Yeah.
He was executed for treason.
Wow.
And the monarchy was briefly abolished because of his actions.
What year was this? 1986.
No, I don't have it written down here. It was a long time ago, though. His son, Charles II, spent time in exile until the monarchy was restored 11 years later.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you restore a monarchy? Was he working behind the scenes?
I don't think so, because he was in exile. There's probably like loyalists, we're like, we need to have the king and queen.
We need the boy.
Keep the boy safe in another country till everybody forgets. But yeah, those are some people think like, it's maybe like bad luck to stay at Charles. But you're 74 years old. You want to change your first name?
No.
Of course not. And now everybody's going to start calling you a different first name, and you're constantly not going to pay attention to that. They're going to be like, hey, excuse me.
I mean, nobody calls him Charles, right?
Aside from close family, I don't think anybody calls him Charles. I think it's always His Royal Highness or your
freaking
Majesty.
King. If you're in a room, they're going to be talking to you. It's not like you're at a cocktail party and like you're on the other end of the room and other people are doing other things. Chuck. It's like, no, I'll come over to you. Like, no, you need somebody. Everybody who interacts with you is going to be handled.
Yeah.
I'd like to have handlers.
You'd like to just never be called over anywhere again.
No, I would just I think I would enjoy being at a party and being like, Tim, this is Tom Reynolds.
Here's a brief biography of him. It was
his birthday. You missed it last year.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I missed your birthday last year. And I'd be like, wow, he remembered me.
Yeah.
Wow, he is good.
I think it would be good to have, I think maybe I just want to hire a personal assistant.
Yeah. Well, that's like kind of what a handler is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure he's got those in
Just
spades.
parade people up to me.
Yeah. But yeah,
and everybody's happy to meet me.
But he's
or
also
honored to meet me.
But he's also got to he's got to like probably talk with a lot of like boring people, you know?
Yeah, but like then you can just like make a gesture to your handler and they're gonna
have him executed off with his head. But I think the thing is, like, nowadays, these guys, you know, the royal family is not as rich as, like, you know, they once were.
Right.
They want to be richer. So I think, you know, he's probably still doing a lot of, like, glad handing with, you know, like Saudi princes and hedge fund managers and whatever else to... stay in their
this
good
is what I
graces.
don't understand. Why do people this rich need to be richer? Right? Am I right?
He's got to make sure that the monarchy is around.
He should flip those jewels.
Yeah. I don't know if he can. Some of the jewels, I'm sure he can.
Why not?
Because I think some belong to the country. And it's like, you can't just, when you're president,
They're the
you
crown
can't sell
jewels.
the Lincoln
He's wearing
Memorial.
the crown all day, right?
He gets a new crown when he's coronated.
Yeah, so that's his.
Yeah.
Bring it to a pawn
I don't
shop.
think it's
See what
his.
you can do.
I think it's kind of like when you...
a high-end pawn shop.
When you like play sports in high school and they like give you a jersey, a uniform, and it's like, this is yours, but we're going to need it back at the end of the season.
Right.
I think it's like that.
How hard are they going to try to get that back?
I think if the king sold his crown, they probably try pretty hard to get it back.
What are they going to do? Arrest the king?
No, I think they'll
execute him and exile his son?
I think they'll probably go to the pawn shop where he sold it. Say, how much did this cost? Did you give the king for this? They'd be like, I gave him $500. And they'd be like, all right, we're going to give you $500 and we want that back.
I'd be like, yeah, give me 600.
All right, fine, 600. Here you go.
Yeah. And then everyone made out.
Now give me back that $5 million crown.
I just feel like they own a lot of property. From what I understand, they own a lot of foxes that they could sell.
You can't sell a fox over in England.
You can if
They're
you're the
all
king.
over the place. Who's going to buy it?
You'd
like
be the only person outside of the king who owns a fox.
Wait. Oh, yeah. The king owns all the foxes, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that the thing?
Yes.
The queen used to own all the foxes,
This is
but
what
now
I'm
the
saying,
king owns
Tom.
all the
Yeah.
foxes?
You're telling me like you're telling me a new fact. This is what I've been talking about for the last 5 minutes.
No, you haven't. You haven't been talking about the king owning foxes. You talked about his crown.
And how he should sell foxes.
Yeah, but that would be if over here they were like, the president owns all the squirrels. Okay, you're still not going to be able to sell a squirrel somewhere.
If you're the president, yeah.
But who's going to buy it?
If it comes with a certificate of authenticity.
And you can be like, oh, I'm the only other person that owns a squirrel.
Yeah, right? So they have to amend all the books, right? Because oh, the president owns all the squirrels. That's in every textbook in America, right? And now it's an asterisk. Yeah. It's like, no, Tim owns one.
Yeah, over the summer, a supplement comes that the teachers have to glue into the textbooks.
Exactly.
Nope, there's a guy.
Change the AP test.
There's another guy who owns one squirrel now.
Yeah.
Why do they own all the foxes? That's crazy. What if you bring a fox in from another country?
I think you're not allowed to. That's
yeah, I mean, probably.
We've been through customs, Tom.
Yeah, I have a fox here with me. You're not going to try and take it and give it to the king, are you? He's got enough.
You have a fox, sir?
Yeah. And don't worry, I'm going to leave with it. It's not going to stay in England because I know old what's-his-name will call dibs on it. Do you think that's what it is? Just that the queen called dibs on all the foxes?
I think so. I think it was
else?
a time where she could call dibs on things. And like, all right.
Tim, King Charles III is 74 years old.
Let me just say one thing. Mm-hmm. That King Charles I business happened in the 1600s.
Okay, long time ago. Yeah. Hardly anybody remembers it now.
I mean, I didn't remember it.
So King Charles III, the current King Charles, he's 74 years old, Tim, and he is, in fact, the longest serving heir in British history, which makes sense because his mom was the longest serving.
Yeah, they should have called her the Iron Lady, huh?
I bet if they had to do it all over again, they might.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just might. Tim, do you know what countries he is the king of?
Oh, Jesus. England,
Yeah?
Scotland.
Yes.
Um,
Can you name a country outside the United Kingdom?
France.
That is a country outside the United Kingdom. It is not a country where he is considered their king. The countries are Antigua and Barbuda.
Uh-huh.
Australia, we know that one. The Bahamas, we know that one. Belize.
Do we?
Belize, Canada, we know that. Grenada.
The whole thing off.
Jamaica, New Zealand,
Aruba.
Papua New Guinea, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Solomon Islands, and Tuvalu.
Okay.
Tuvalu.
So there's the British Empire.
Tuvalu.
Okay.
And I know Tuvalu, Tim, because that used to be the country where .tv came from.
Ah.
Yeah.
But not anymore.
Well, now it's just
a
you can
free
do
for all,
whatever you
yeah.
want. But it used to be like, no, we can only add countries. And Tuvalu was TV. And I think that was like their only export was just domain names.
Can I ask you something, Tom?
Uh-huh.
Why did .com become the standard? .net was a joke.
Yeah.
Compared to .com.
It was a joke compared to .com.
And it's just like, oh, .net. What is this? It's because we're on the internet.
Well, it's better than .biz.
Yeah, .biz had a zazz to it though.
I think just .com. It was like there's gonna have to be one that's the default.
Yeah, but why not .net?
I don't know, because it's computers.
Yeah, but why do we think it was all second rate?
Second rate.
Yeah,
What do you mean?
.net.
Oh, .net? Just because something had to be.
Yeah. Well, .computer? Is that what we're thinking?
Yeah,
it's
.computer.
.com. It's short for computers.
Yeah, and you type it in the computer. Oh, it makes sense.
The net.
You don't even need to know what the internet is with .com. That was their commercials. You don't remember? You don't even know what you need to know. Nowadays it doesn't, like, I don't know, domain names, are they like a thing anybody cares about, or it's just like nobody types anything, nobody types in URLs anymore?
I type in URLs.
I sound like an old man. Nobody types in URLs anymore. They click on links.
I mean, social media disappears, Tom.
It
The
disappears?
homepage will be reborn.
Yeah, yahoo.com will be back. Do you remember? I remember like early days of the internet, just going to Yahoo directory, and they had all the websites there you could go to. And then like you'd go to them all and you'd come back the next day and be like, oh, no new websites. Well, I guess I'll have to come back tomorrow and see if there's anything new on the internet.
I remember there was remember when AOL happened?
Yeah.
And at first there was no web browser in it. So it's just
it
you
was
were
just
like,
AOL. It was
so you're
like
doing
their
their
own
thing.
stuff.
And then they introduced the web browser
Yeah,
to
it was
it.
a big deal.
I was like, oh, yeah. And then there was this site that had guitar tabs on it.
Nice.
And it was like Mike's Ultimate Guitar Site. And I was like, God bless you, Mike. I'm going to learn how to play all these Nirvana songs.
You're doing the Lord's work.
But every time I had it written down, and I was like, HTTP. Is that a colon or a semicolon? And like, it was,
because it used to not even do that part for you.
Yeah.
Which is insane. Why didn't they just always have it do that part?
I don't know. But I remember like mistyping it because then there was like tildes in it and stuff.
Oh,
and
yeah. Those kinds of websites.
Yeah. It's like, and then I had to be like, /home.html and you had to put all that in.
Yeah. Sometimes it was .htm, sometimes it was .html, and if you got it wrong,
and then I think if you got it wrong, it wouldn't be like, okay, it stays up there in the bar. Like you had to like start typing it from scratch again. Like it like disappeared.
Well,
it's like, this isn't a website, you silly fool. Delete this.
People nowadays would be surprised to hear how unforgiving the internet used to be. Tim, I got some other facts about Prince Charles III.
Did you get them from Reader's Digest?
No.
Oh.
I got this one from purewow.
Oh,
You know what, Tim? I hand write it down. Presumably.com, but it might be a .net. I'm not sure.
God forbid it's a .biz.
He is the first heir, or he was. Now he's the king. So I guess now he's also the first king, maybe, to earn a university degree.
Wow. I'm sure he worked very hard for it.
I mean, it sounds like, just everybody else is probably like, oh, no, I'm a prince or I'm the king. I don't need to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. What do you think those classes were? You, Tom, mock Dr. Cosby for getting the the honorary degrees. Do you think King Charles?
It's literally my only problem with him.
Yeah, I know. You revere the man, but it's just like, don't call yourself doctor. You didn't get a doctor.
I mean, he was, I'm sure his degree, yeah, I mean, I'm sure he got some like preferential treatment, but like, I don't know, he went to college.
I went to college too. I didn't learn anything.
I know. Well, I'm not saying he learned anything
either. They didn't make me
the
fucking king, that's for
sure. They didn't make him the king because he went to college. You're misunderstanding all this stuff. But get this. This I didn't know about him. This was during his college days, I presume. At 21 years old, the king traveled to America and met President Richard Nixon, who introduced the royal to his daughter, hoping it would lead to marriage.
Wow.
So
Nixon had a plan to get power in another country too.
Oh, I'll be the king's father-in-law. That was his plan, and I think that comes from Chuck himself. That he's said, like, in I don't think like at the time, but more recent years, like, oh yeah, he like tried to set us up, but neither of us were interested.
Right. What was Nixon's daughter's deal? I don't know her.
I don't know. She's Nixon's daughter. Okay. And that's about all I know about her. Here's another. If you thought that fact was something, Tim, wait till you hear this one. He has a habit. He plants a lot of trees. You know this?
He's an environmentalist.
He's an environmentalist, which I have something to say about in a minute. But after planting each tree, the proud environmentalist wishes them well by giving each branch a friendly shake or a tap.
No, he doesn't. Each branch?
That's what I'm like. Maybe a few branches, but every branch?
But also, is he planted any trees?
I think it's like, there's a mound of dirt. There's already a tree in a hole. And they're like, here, sir,
here's a golden shovel.
You shovel one shovelful and we'll say you planted it. But, and also I'll touch every branch. And they're like, all right.
Tom, I got this, yeah, and he's there all afternoon touching every single freaking branch. Get me a fetch me a ladder.
Have I touched this one yet? Yes, sir, you've already touched that one.
I got this Reader's Digest facts about Prince Charles, and then they updated it to King Charles once the lady died. One of them, and this is a puff piece. One of them is he's a workaholic.
Yeah,
working on what?
His various charities and initiatives, Tim.
When he was Prince of Wales, Charles worked 7 days a week, generally starting after breakfast and often working past midnight. On what?
I mean, I also don't understand what anybody did for work before there were computers. Like, I don't understand what somebody did when they like got to work and like, well, here I am at my desk. Now to write on some papers?
That's what Prince Harry says. He does need to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
This is a man who has dinner ridiculously late at night and then goes to his desk later that night and will fall asleep on his notes to the point where he'll wake up with a piece of paper stuck to his face. Wow. No, he doesn't.
I mean,
they don't let him fall asleep. The second
they don't let him fall asleep.
They don't let him fall asleep at the desk. As soon as his eyes start drooping, they're like, sir.
Quick, get the royal pillow.
And then they start the 3-hour process of getting him into his pajamas and like raising him onto his bed. Yeah.
I mean, I could see somebody that's in the royal family just kind of like not knowing what to do with themselves other than their quote unquote work.
Yeah, but what is he doing?
He's probably like
He's playing snood.
He's writing letters. He's reading letters. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what like actual. I mean, same thing where they.
Does he have like a big ledger that he's looking at?
Yeah, like balancing the books. Like, oh, I don't know. There's going to be a tough quarter for the royal family.
Better take this crown over to the pawn shop.
I gotta make sure none of the guys here see me do it, or else they're just gonna.
Yeah, they're gonna go back to the pawn shop again, buy it back for $100 more.
That's another thing about the royal family where they always talk about like, oh, this person attends like 500 engagements every year as a royal. But they include in that like weddings and stuff.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
wish me going to a wedding was like listed as I could put that on my resume.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm sure it gets old, but just going to things and then, people come up and they say hi. It is work. Like it is mentally exhausting, but it's not really like creating something, you know? I mean, I guess it's making those people happy and it's helping the royal family like continue to exist, but it's not solving
There's
problems.
no purpose.
Yeah. It's not like, he comes out to some, open up some new facility somewhere, meets 100 people, and now, that facility is going to run so much better because King Charles came here to...
Not doing anything with productivity.
Yeah.
In the UK or anywhere, really.
Yeah.
Wherever the TV nation, either.
What? Yeah, Tuvalu.
Act like, yeah, I've always known what Tuvalu is.
No, when you said the TV nation, I was like, what? Is Tim talking about everything's the Truman Show again? So you're getting into that. So yeah, I look, I wouldn't want to be a royal, but I also don't think it's that bad of a gig. They all like to cry about how hard it is.
I'll tell you this thing. Tom, I would like to be a royal.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, you said it earlier. You're on the record.
It's not hard.
Yeah.
You just, I don't know. I didn't watch the interviews or read the book about that boy's Todger, but it just doesn't seem like it's actual work for like,
I mean,
to do whatever you want.
Part of the problem is that they specifically Charles is apparently like real tight with the media and like all the trash, all the tabloids.
Yeah, and Reader's Digest, by the way. This
and Reader's Digest. Maybe that's why he's busy. He's up every night editing that month's Reader's Digest.
He's a huge fan of leftovers, they say, in Reader's Digest. It's like piling leftovers into Tupperware seems undeniably unroyal, but King Charles's disdain for food waste trumps any desire for fresher grub. He's not putting it in Tupperware.
No.
He's never been in a kitchen in his whole life. He's never set foot in a kitchen. He has no idea how anything's prepared.
I don't know. He's pretty old.
And he doesn't finish something, and he's like, this will be leftovers. And then it says later on, it's like, it doesn't go to him.
They're probably like, well, sir, we'll give the rest of this to, the homeless people outside. No, put it in Tupperware. I'll eat it later. When I was watching some of this stuff, like these Prince Harry things, what I did find very interesting is that so it seems like, I don't know around what time, but sometime in the past, let's say.
Okay.
A bunch of people started questioning the royals and like, why does this still exist? So they kind of needed to like quickly find a purpose. And that's when they like really got into like, we'll do charity. That will be our thing.
Right.
We'll go to fundraisers. We'll shake hands. We'll go to hospitals. That way everybody will like us. But watching this thing about Charles, it's crazy because you realize that, oh, he chose environmentalism as his cause because that's the least controversial thing to like rally behind.
Right.
Because he's not like, I mean, I shouldn't maybe put words in his mouth, but like, as far as I know, he's not like a big, like, oh, we have to like abolish the oil companies. They're the ones who are polluting the environment.
Right.
He's like, we should plant more trees, which is great.
Right.
But, you know,
and touch every single branch obsessively.
But, you know, it's just like, it seemed custom picked to be something that's as inoffensive as possible. You know, that they aren't like, we're going to tackle poverty or we're going to tackle racism.
Yeah. No, it's just him being like, if you ask me, Earth Day should be every day.
Yeah. But don't ask me about like, you know,
policy or anything.
British Petroleum and what they're up to.
Yeah. I mean, Tom, I will say he's a proponent of organic eating and organic farming. And he said, the very future of humanity may depend to a very large extent on a mainstream transition to a more sustainable farming practices based on organic principles. Which he's not wrong, but has he done anything? He raised cattle, pigs, and sheep using organic farming methods. Again, did he raise it, or did he own the land that somebody else?
That counts as raising. I'll tell you what he did for organic stuff, Tim. He is behind the biggest organic food company in England.
Really?
It's called Dutchy. Now it's like part of Waitrose.
Okay. You love Waitrose.
Who doesn't?
You love every single British chain
I love
store.
British.
You're like, oh,
supermarkets.
Boots. I could live in a Boots.
Nah, Boots is all right. I mean, it's like
you love a Sainsbury's.
I love a Sainsbury's. I love a Tesco.
Yeah.
And I love
Tesco
a Waitrose.
sounds too much like a gas station.
You're thinking of Texaco.
Texaco, yeah.
Texaco.
Yeah, but that's why it's like, oh, I'm gonna get food from there.
No, I think probably Tesco's my favorite because they got a little bit of everything. And they've got big stores, little stores. It's nice. Waitrose is a little bougie, Tim, a little upmarket.
Yeah. You might see the king himself there.
Yeah.
Strolling the aisles in his crown.
It's so bougie. He's making the food. But apparently in 1990, he started this company. And you know, it's like run. That's the other weird thing.
So that's what he's doing. That's the ledger that he has.
That's some of it, I guess. And it's very confusing because it's like owned by, maybe now it's owned by Waitrose. Maybe they sold it, but it was owned by, like, you know, the Royal Trust.
Right.
And I think all the money from that like went to charitable things.
Like Paul Newman.
Yeah, it sounded very Paul Newman-y when I read about
this
it.
generation's Paul Newman.
I mean, I think he's part of maybe the same generation as Paul Newman. Nah, I guess like one behind. Paul Newman was quite a bit older. But like, listen to this, Tim. This is why here I found the relevant stuff, the sentence about this. It was called Dutchy. The Dutchy Originals Company is named after the Duchy of Cornwall estates that are held in a trust by the Duke of Cornwall, who often holds the title Prince of Wales. What?
What does this mean?
Are these shell companies? Is this the Panama Papers? What's going on here?
Is the royal family just a number of shell companies?
I mean, not too far off. Tim, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about his loves. The two loves of his life, and one he didn't even really like all that much.
Right.
Diana and Camilla.
Yeah. Hey, who is he? Gonzo?
Because Gonzo had a chicken named Camilla he was in love with.
Yeah.
Do you know about the tampon thing?
Yeah, Tom, we've talked about the tampon thing.
What do you mean we've talked about it?
We've talked about it on the show.
Oh, God, I'll just live inside your trousers or something. It would be much easier. To which she responds, what are you going to turn into, a pair of knickers? Oh, you're going to come back as a pair of knickers. He tells her, oh, God forbid. Tambacks. Just my luck. In fairness, like when you read the actual transcript, they were joking around.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well,
when I watched the sketches about it on Saturday Night Live in 1993.
Yeah, because the tapes were, I think, recorded in 89, but came out in 92.
Yeah. I had no idea what any of this meant.
Yeah, me neither. But I mean, at least over here, I'm sure over there, it was all played as like, he's a pervert. He wants to be a tampon.
Right.
And it was like, he's just kind of...
They were riffing. It was a bit.
The weird thing is, I was like, how did that even happen? Where'd that phone call come from? So the 6-minute conversation is said to have been recorded by a scanner user on December 18th, 1989. The phone call was recorded by an amateur radio enthusiast.
That's cool.
Who claimed he came across the signal accidentally while scanning radio frequencies. There are also reports that, in fact, the conversation was recorded by MI5 and rebroadcasted several times in the hope a scanner user would record it and leak it to the papers. There are also reports that, in fact, 27 other similar tapes exist in the MI5 vaults. So, like over here, like in the CIA vaults, we've got like alien carcasses and stuff.
Yeah.
Over there in the MI5 vaults, they've got more tampon tapes.
More tampon talk from a king.
But I don't understand in the first place how you could pick it up with a radio scanner.
I don't either. But like, stuff was weird back then.
It was 1989.
It
wasn't that long ago.
Tom, guess how old you are.
I mean, we were both alive, and it's like
I know, but we're old.
But do you remember like your parents ever being like, "Honey, be careful, an amateur radio enthusiast might be listening to your phone calls"?
No, but like I'm sure there were always.
You
things.
think it was like a wireless handset, and that's why?
Maybe. Tom, I don't know the technology. All I know is that like sometimes it'd be like. There's crossed wires and like somebody called a different number and my phone rang.
Yeah,
and
but you think they'd be like pretty careful about the prints, and you think he'd probably be like, "I'm gonna call the woman I'm having an affair with. Please make sure no amateur radio enthusiast can get a hold of this."
Yeah, I don't know. Stuff was different back then.
Did you have a cordless phone at your home?
Yeah,
growing up. Did you ever pick up other people's calls?
I think so.
We did. I remember sometimes like picking up to call somebody. I think it was usually that because I'm guessing that's when it would like hop on a channel or whatever.
Yeah.
And like you would pick up the phone and like start dialing and you would just like hear a conversation already happening.
Yeah. So Tom,
wild
you're
stuff.
answering your own question here.
Oh, but it still seems like it'd be tough to get it from that far away. I tend to
also
believe...
you're saying there is a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's why I tend to believe the conspiracy.
Okay. So he married Princess Diana,
who
was not a princess previously. She became a princess,
but she was
marrying.
a lady previously.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we all know that. I've seen the pictures.
No, because that's
and
the other
lady.
That's the other thing. There's like still the aristocracy where it's like, okay, the Spencers aren't part of the royal family, but they have titles and they're close to the royal family.
Right. Well, that's how they met.
They met.
I thought the way that I always thought it worked with the two of them is that she was on the street all dirtied up and she had like a gray like blanket over her head and she was like, oh, I'd like some, and then he came by in a stagecoach and was like, that's a beautiful woman, I can tell. Despite the dirty blanket and the dirty hair, I see a diamond in the rough.
Bring her to the royal baths.
Then and they took her on a makeover, and then he's like, and then they got married.
Tim, in fact, the first time they met was during a grouse hunt.
What is a grouse?
At Althorpe, the Spencer family home. He was there with her older sister, Sarah, who he dated for a minute. At their time of meeting, Prince Charles was 29 and Diana was 16.
What the?
Yeah, there's a decent sized age gap. That was the first time they met. They didn't start dating then, but I don't think it was like that long afterwards. They only met 13 times before they were wed.
Right, and he didn't even really want to get married to her.
Yeah.
According to Reader's Digest.
Yeah. Well, so there was this whole thing, like he had an on again, off again thing with Camilla.
Right.
And then he was sent
like Gonzo.
like Gonzo. Yeah. Is it on again, off again with Gonzo?
I mean, I think Camilla, it's hard to know how consensual things are in the Gonzo Camilla relationship.
Camilla can't talk.
Yeah. And like Gonzo purports to like
understand it. Yeah.
But like I can't.
We can't verify
I don't know
that.
if Kermit and like Fozzie can understand Camilla,
Chickens,
or if he's just like if they're relying on Gonzo's translation.
Man, how come chickens can't talk, but like frogs and bears and pigs
you know what?
can?
Don't even worry about it. It's fine.
I guess I'm not gonna get into it. I was gonna say I guess it's not that weird that he's like dating a chicken because like they're all animals.
Yeah.
But like you said, I'd feel better if she talked. So they got together. No, what I was talking about him and Camilla, he had to like go off to be in the army.
And she fell in love with some other guy.
Yeah. So when he came back, she was, like already married to another dude, but they were friends. In fact,
wink, wink, wink.
He's the godfather of her son. And now he's the stepfather and the godfather. But apparently the affair started in 1986.
When were Charles and Diana wed?
I think 1980, but don't quote me on that.
Okay.
I know that the affair started in 86. That phone call happened in 89. It was released in 1992. And then in 1992, the two of them got separated.
They were married July 29th, 1981.
Oh, okay.
750 million people in 74 countries tuned in.
Wow.
To watch. 750 million people.
That's a lot of people.
It's more people than there are in America.
Yeah.
And I sure as hell wasn't watching it.
You might have been. You don't know. You weren't alive yet.
It was a year
Never
before
mind.
I was born.
In 1994, he was interviewed about it. That's
why those tampon sketches on Saturday Night Live were so disheartening for me, because I had always lived in a world where Charles and Diana were happily married.
Exactly. It was a horrible way to find out that there was trouble. He was asked, I love this quote. Charles was asked if he was faithful and honorable during his marriage to Diana. He said, yes, absolutely, until it became irretrievably broken down, us both having tried. So it's basically, yes, I was 100% faithful up until the moment I was not.
Right.
Although he didn't specifically name Camilla as his lover, he called the other woman, quote, a great friend of mine and someone who, quote, will continue to be a friend for a very long time. And what's amazing about this is she was still married at this point.
Right.
So I'm sure and it sounds like their marriage was not going great either. Like this wasn't some big surprise. I mean, I would imagine if your wife is cheating on you with the Prince of England, like you're going to notice some things being off.
Maybe. Her husband was like a guy too, right?
Yeah, he was some kind of guy.
Andrew Parker Bowles. I remember he was like part of those sketches on SNL.
Oh, was he?
I was like, I don't know who this guy is either.
It's so weird too, like reading about both them, like Charles and and Camilla and Diana, because
this guy, he dated freaking Princess Anne for several years. In the
Oh,
70s.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
So he was in the mix. All these people are all in the mix.
Swapping left, right, and center. With the Diana said the first time she met the Prince of Wales, her first thought was, God, what a sad man.
He does seem to be. He has like a hangdog face.
Yeah, he has a sad looking face.
Yeah.
But then she also said, obviously she's not here to defend herself, and died tragically, and seems like she got screwed on a lot of things. But this, I was like, this doesn't make any sense. She said, we had this ghastly interview the day we announced our engagement. She said in her book, Diana, in her own words, and this ridiculous reporter said, are you in love? I thought, what a thick question. So I said, yes, of course we are. And Charles turned around and said, whatever love means. And that threw me completely. I thought, what a strange answer. It traumatized me. It's like, but this is the same guy that the first time you met him, you thought, what a sad man. Like, it doesn't sound like either of you were into this.
No.
But you went through with it because the Queen said you both had to, so you did. And I mean, I guess that's the thing for her. It was basically like she was like, it sounds like Diana was like kind of knew what she was signing up for, and it kind of like resigned herself to that.
Right.
But then when he cheated on her, it's like, oh, come on, man. Like, you can't go out embarrassing me, like cheating on me.
Right.
Did
you watch the movie with Twilight Lady?
Yes.
She was sad herself, right?
She was sad herself. Yeah. A lot of sad people. I mean, and that's why I think you should rethink your goal
thing.
to become a royal, Tim.
I know, and I feel this way about is this just discourse that tries to keep all of us in our place, where
not
it's like,
becoming a royal?
Well, it's the royals, and then like all the pop culture about the fabulously wealthy, and like it's all about
the
like
problems they have,
how sad they are, how like money doesn't solve.
Unfulfilled. Yeah, they have holes in their
If
souls.
I had all that money, I'd be fulfilled.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to think I'd be doing pretty well too, but I think I'd be like, it's harder than you think, because you don't want to be out there being like, I'm rich and guess what? It fucking rules. It's so much fun. It's so much better than even what you imagine.
I don't think anybody would hear from me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have to be like, oh, I'll go on TV and talk.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. There's so many rich people out there, and we hear from like such a small percentage of them.
If I was rich too, I wouldn't be like, now to obsessively make more money.
Some people aren't like that. Some people make a ton of money and then they're like, awesome, I'm gonna fuck off and not worry about anything from now on.
Windsurfing.
Not the royal family. The royal family is like, great, we have a lot of money, we made more money, now let's also ensure that our family continues for the hundreds of years into the future.
I stopped listening.
I was just saying they're very concerned with that kind of stuff too. And apparently, I think I was starting to say this before, that like Charles is very involved with the tabloids, and it's this whole like, just the tabloids keep them relevant, and then that keeps them the royal family, and then they're like, oh, we bring in all this tourism money. It's like, do they really? How many people are going over there to see, fucking Windsor Castle? And if there was no more royals, I don't know, I'd still go check out that castle.
Yeah, they'd probably let you in.
Yeah, exactly. I've been to castles where there isn't, currently any king living there.
Yeah.
And you get to walk around and see everything. So
those
if you're
suits of armor.
Yeah, if you're a real,
bring out the suits of armor.
Real fan of the royals, you would hope that they are dismantled so you can go in and check out all their stuff.
So Charles, He's gonna reign probably not as long as the Queen did.
Yeah, I don't think he'll reign for 70 years.
Maybe. I mean, he looks pretty good, I guess.
His dad lived to 99 and his mom lived to 95. So I
mean, know this stuff off the top of your head.
I looked it up today. I did research.
Well, I didn't.
I know. You looked up when they were married while we were recording. It took so long. Like, I don't understand. You were like typing and looking for a while.
What are you talking about? I clicked on one link.
Look,
and I found this Reader's Digest article. I cited numerous things from the Reader's Digest.
That's true. I forgot about the Reader's Digest.
And I told you when Prince Charles I reigned.
Yeah, that's also true. I take it all back, Tim. You've done a fantastic job researching. I'm just saying that his parents were old, so I would not count him out for being king for another 25 years.
Well, maybe he slips on a banana peel.
Maybe he slips on a banana peel. I mean, there are rumors that that's how the queen died, but, they bury that kind of stuff, so we don't hear about it. Because
more than 6 feet deep.
It would be, they bury that stuff even
That's
even
the thing.
deeper than the queen.
Dog digs it up and they find the banana peel that felled her. Yeah.
Yeah, then all of a sudden... you got collectors out there. They want to have the banana peel. You got Indiana Jones trying to find it. It belongs in a museum.
Charles could flip that banana peel.
I don't think
all his problems would be over.
I don't think you seem to have an idea that King Charles is hard up for money.
No, this is what you said.
Looking to flip stuff quick.
You said that they don't have as much money as they'd like to.
Yeah,
and so I was just giving him ideas for things that he could.
You're coming up with small ideas. I think
the banana peel that killed Queen Elizabeth.
I think he's looking for
big. That's gonna bring in big bucks.
Yeah. Well, he's got the Bin Ladens gave him money.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's all tied up.
To fly one of the planes?
To fly? Yeah, and he was like, I'll do it.
Now the Bin Ladens are after him.
Hey, give us the money back.
We had a deal, Charles.
No, the not Osama, all the other ones. All the quote-unquote good Bin Ladens. Yeah, he's all like mixed up with like Saudi money and stuff that like you don't really want to be involved with.
Yeah. Just start selling some of the stuff from around the palaces. Get out of the...
Look, who's going to miss like a suit of armor or a painting? You don't have to go to these, reprehensible people to try and get their money. I'm trying to remember. There was something about that I had read about the Saudis and like when they killed that journalist, the American journalist, the Washington Post reporter. I forget. There was something to do with Prince Charles with it, where not with that, but like something. I don't even know why I'm bringing this up because I like so vaguely remember what it was. I should have written it down.
If you like the show, you can find out more at tcgte.com. You can follow us on Instagram at Complete Guide and on Twitter at Complete Guide. Wait, no, it's on Instagram. TCGT.
On Instagram, it's TC. All the links are on tcgt.com.
God damn it.
You can follow me at Tom Reynolds.
You can follow me at your pal.
And check out our Patreon, patreon.com/complete guide. You get, right now we're reading, it's not TV.
It's a history of and future of HBO.
Yeah, so we're real into it after reading a bunch of boring books. You get
the Bible is boring, Tom.
Yeah, the Bible
Wuthering
was
Heights
boring.
is boring.
Yeah, Wuthering Heights was boring. You get all those episodes. You get the back episodes. Patreon.com/complete guide.
This week's episode, we did not progress in the book
personally.
Right.
Yes.
We're still on part 1.
Yeah. No, we're on part 2, but part 1 was going to be part 1 and part 2.
Yeah, whatever. We're going through all the TV shows this week because we went through the narrative last week. Look, this week, I'm just giving people a taste of what's on the Patreon this week. We're about to record the episode now. We're going to go through the early HBO episode series as described in the book.
Yeah. Patreon.com.
Maybe that's too much information for this
complete guide.
plug.
Well, maybe it was just enough to convince somebody to sign up. Tim, we were in England during the Queen's funeral. Will we be there during the King's coronation?
Yes.
All right. Wow, it's going to be expensive to buy these tickets.
Or is
last
it
minute.
Monday?
I think it's Monday, the 6th.
Right.
Well,
Monday's the 1st.
No, it's Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we got time.
Yeah. Oh, it's probably like a bank Friday, or they probably don't call it a bank Friday. They call it King's Friday or whatever. So that's pretty cool. People probably have a 3-day weekend.
Yeah.
Nice. We should go over there so we have a 3-day weekend.
Works for me. Tom, I can't believe.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've probably said it a million times on this show. We went to the UK to do shows every single year starting in 2011, I think, right? Or 2010 maybe?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Maybe 2009 even? I don't know. And every time we're like, I know what's going to happen. The Queen's going to die.
2011.
It's going to mess with our shows. And every year we were so afraid
every
of
year
it.
the Queen didn't die.
Yeah. And then she died.
Yeah. Every year she didn't die. And there she was backstage, the first person to shake our hands when we got off stage.
Scantily clad, too.
Yeah. We're
like, what are you trying to do
waiting
here?
in the dressing room.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they let me in.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd take a shower before. I never took a shower before or after any of the shows, even though we had showers available.
Yeah, we didn't need to.
Sometimes I did.
You needed to?
Yeah, we get sweaty up there sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, normally we, in those dressing rooms at King's Place, we were scrambling to put together the show. And then sometimes we'd be scrambling and you'd be like, I'll be right back. And then you'd disappear into the bathroom for 45 minutes. And I'd be scrambling to figure out the show.
Yeah. And the whole time, people would be banging on the doors. The show's starting, fellas.
Yeah. And then it'd be like, get away from the door, Scooter, because that was Scooter's role in the Muppet Show.
Oh, was it? Okay.
And nobody got it ever.
Is that the only way you can relate to real life?
Yeah, or at least stuff that happens in England.
Doesn't make any sense, but all right. We'll see you next week.
That was a HeadGum podcast.